How's it going, everyone? Mahaji here, back at it with another video, and today we're taking a look at what's known as the Ki Blast War in Dragon Ball FighterZ. Now before we get into it, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, share with your friends, and help me get out the hood. Like, for real, like, I'm still here, guys. Like, what's going on? Now without further ado, let's just define what the Ki Blast War is, and we'll go from there. It has a couple of definitions, but the one I like to use, which is pretty simple, is the usage and interaction between your Ki Blast, the opponent's Ki Blast, and the assist on the screen. So with that, I have a bit of a guideline here that I kind of wrote down. It's 5 steps, mainly 4, but the 5th one's a, kind of a bonus round. And we have angle, priority, amount of Ki Blast, speed, and character-specific mind games. Now the first one I want to talk about is angle, and while it's not the most important factor in a Ki Blast War, it is a very important factor. So I have the GOAT, Base Vegeta, on screen. And we're just going to go over why his Ki Blasts are really good, right? He has a horizontal Ki Blast. He has 1S, 2S, 3S. He has a JS and a J8S. Very hard to say. Now, why are these important, right? Set him the guard real quick. So the reason why these are important is because Ki Blasts in this game are mainly used to do 3 things. Either stuff characters' movement, stuff characters' attack, or snipe and assist. So as we can see, this catches people on the ground trying to run at me. This catches people in the air trying to jump at me. And this one is mainly used to snipe and to lock people down or their assist. It's really hard to deal with his zoning if we're not to count the obvious super dash. So with all of this in mind, let's take a look at a couple of characters' angles and see what they have working for them. Goku, horizontal Ki Blast, 2S to cover the sky, JS to cover the ground, right? Very simple. Most characters have something similar to this, if not the same exact thing, because there's a lot of Gokus in this game, but the fact still remains. Let's go to Android 21, which is a bit of a weirder character. While she doesn't have a multi-hitting Ki Blast, she still does have a horizontal hitting Ki Blast. Bam. She also has a Vegito assist like 2S, which I'm pretty sure we've all played against that assist. With this, and of course, same one in the air. Adjusts her forward a little bit in the air, but same idea, right? Now, why are these important? Because specifically in angle coverage, you can do something like this, right? Right, which gets over projectiles. And of course, this angle is very important because not only can that even smoke assist, but that can just sort of beat opponents trying to jump over, things like that. And of course, this is like I showed you, she didn't even get hit by the Ki Blast, so she's pretty much non-committal when doing this. Very strong Ki Blast, right? So let's look at some more characters with their Ki Blast, right? Teen Gohan, horizontal, 3S, 1S. Also has this. This is a very good angle. Keep this angle in your mind. This is a very good angle, right? Let's look at Frieza. Frieza has a couple of angles that he can hit. This one, this one, this one, and this one. Oop, this one, right? These are all very strong angles, of course, for the reasons I mentioned before. Outside of maybe the assist, Frieza's not going to hit assist with those other assists or those other Ki Blasts that much. But let's talk about Muscle Man. So Broly's gonna come on screen. He's gonna be, oh, what's up, everyone? I got the, some of the craziest Ki Blasts in the game, right? So Ki Blast in this game, let's talk about them real quick. This angle is crazy. This and this, these are both crazy angles. And while they can be answered, it's still really crazy because, like I said, it's to stuff movement. And guess what? If I do this with Broly, guess what he's gonna do? He's gonna drag me back down, right? A couple of ways to deal with this, and the, obviously, as I mentioned before, stuff movement, stuff attacks, and to deal with assist. But assist can also be used to deal with Ki Blast. So if I do this with him, and I call Goku, and I dash block, he's gonna get smoked. Pretty 101 when it comes to this Ki Blast War thing. You have to dash block plus assist if you think if your opponent's going to overcommit with your Ki Blast, right? Alright, so for the next thing that I want to talk about is not angles, but it's going to be priority. Now it's funny that I have these two characters on the screen, as Android 21 and Z Broly have some of the highest priority Ki Blasts in the game. So we're going to switch to someone who has a lesser Ki Blast priority, Goku. So as I said before, Z Broly, Muscle Man, whoop, comes in, hits the screen. I want a Ki Blast War. You want to throw him? No, it doesn't happen. right? So you just get smoked. So as far as that goes, I would just keep in mind who you can contend in the Ki Blast war with. I mean, of course, you're gonna see players shoot a Ki Blast, but they're not gonna overcommit against Z Broly. I mean, you're just gonna get smoked, right? So you're gonna see Ki Blast, you're gonna, you know, kind of feel them out, see what they're gonna do. But overall, Z Broly is gonna win most Ki Blast wars. If it's not someone who has a projectile invul move, or if they're not really good at using their assist like this. So this is something to consider. Of course, Android 21, even though she doesn't have a multi-hitting Ki Blast, she still has one of the best 5S's in the game, simply because it does have a very, very good priority on it. So she doesn't even need to throw like something major out. She can just do that, right? All right, so next we have amount of Ki Blast. And as I just said, Android 21, not the craziest amount of Ki Blast, but she still has the priority, right? So as we go, you can sort of like weigh these yourself, see if it's something that you like in a character, if it's something you don't like in a character. But for now, we're just going to talk about the amount of Ki Blast characters typically have. So, good example here, Super Saiyan Goku, okay? And we're going to take the opponent off guard here, and just look at the Ki Blast comparison here. 4 Ki Blast, and I'll just set him to do this anyways, right? Super Saiyan Goku, 6 Ki Blast. Very, very important that you know how many Ki Blast your character has, so that way you can actually contend in this bitch, right? So, for example, even though, you know, Ting Huans may appear faster, he's going to lose this. He's going to lose this more often than not. So what you'll see from a lot of high-level players is that they won't actually commit to this with Ting Huan because of how many Ki Blasts he does shoot out. Normally, you'll see something like this where they do, right? And the reason for that is because they don't want to overcommit in a Ki Blast war, and their assist more than likely will protect them from getting smoked. So with that in, you know, consideration, amount of Ki Blast does come into play, but again, you have to consider the assist. Is their assist still up? Can I commit to the Ki Blast war? No? Then let me just chill until that assist comes out, right? So going more into the amount of Ki Blast, the OG is back. And let's just bring in, I don't know why I got that. Let's just go into Frieza, right? Now for Z Broly, little side note, we're not going to compare his Ki Blast just because the only person he's ever going to really contend with is against himself when it comes to that, just because his priority and the amount of Ki Blast he has is kind of crazy, but just a side note. So Frieza has 6 Ki Blast, right? Base Vegeta. Look, Frieza, that's cool and all, but I got 8 Ki Blasts. So even if yours are faster, and I go in the lab and I'm just like this, right? I'm going to get that ass, all right? I'm gonna get you. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm about to get you, right? So obviously, as you can see, Base Vegeta has angle coverage. He doesn't have crazy priority, but he does have a lot of Ki Blast and a lot of Ki Blast, right? So he has a lot to work with. So as we go, you can sort of see how many Ki Blasts this fella's working with, right? So speed isn't something I would typically say is super important when it comes to the trading of Ki Blast. However, and I'm just going to segue right into it because we're going to talk about it anyways, speed, right? So speed is not something that I consider to be like a crazy big deal in fighters if you're actually colliding with the character. And the reason for that is because more oftentimes than not, you'll either trade out and you'll just be in like sort of a neutral state where you have to, you know, kind of win back your situational advantage. However, speed does matter when it comes to full screen presence. So I'm going to bring out Super Saiyan Goku, pretty standard. As you can see, his Ki Blast is going to hit 27 frame. On frame 27, his Ki Blast will reach from full screen. Frieza, on the other hand, is going to hit on frame 21. So that 6 frame difference is going to be huge because whether or not you get your Ki Blast out even in time to make that trade is going to be super important. Especially when it comes to dealing with assist and stuff like that, your assist is probably going to get smoked against this 5S more often times than not. Sorry, it's just how it is. So, other characters. Hers is a bit weird. 26, still really good, right? Base Vegeta, same deal. His are a little bit faster. Oop. I lied. 27, right? But he has a lot of them, so that's in consideration, right? Z Broly, like I said before, it's kind of hard to, you know, kind of base this character because it's kind of cheap. 23 frames, like, come on, dude, what are you doing? And of course, Ting Gohan, he has some of the faster ones too. Frame 23 as well. So you can kind of see what I'm getting at, where you may have the Ki Blast advantage, you may have the angle advantage, but if you can't get that Ki Blast out, then son of a bitch, you're about to die, right? So the last one that I want to talk about is pretty simple. It's character-specific mind games. Now, character-specific mind games really come into play with characters like Base Vegeta, like Z Broly, like Teen Gohan, and the reason for this is because you'll see a lot of higher level players, especially with these characters, do something like this to, like I said, trap movement, hit assist, things like that, right? So this is a very common situation. I'm sure you've seen it before. The reason why players do this is because of two things. One, this pierce against assist. So if you call an assist behind this, it's going to get hit by the lariat. The second thing is that this actually hits standing, or this hits jump startup. Right, so from this, I can hit your jump start up, and you have to sort of wager or not whether or not you're going to get hit by this or you're going to reflect, and then that's when the mind game comes in, right? So just from that, you've established a mind game from neutral where you can say, okay, well, I'm not going to do the lariat, I'm going to do this one, and I'm going to bait you, and I'm going to medium starter you for it, right? If I bait you reflect, pretty good. Same thing can be said for characters like 21. Who mostly, you know, kind of zone like this, pretty casual, not doing too much, and then all of a sudden, you start doing stuff like that, right? All right, catch your jump start up, catch your walking back, trying to reflect, pretty good. These are all things to consider, right? And of course, you have certain characters like Super Saiyan Goku, who can sort of mix up their offense from doing this into, you know, doing this, and, you know, sort of getting in. Of course, players will react and reflect to this. But it's just good to check and see where their head is when it comes to the Ki Blast War, whether or not you want to commit to it, whether or not you want to bait something from them and sort of take your turn like this. Very, very good to know and see what you can do. Teen Gohan, a lot of Teen Gohans like to do this, whether like frame trap jump with a lariat, or they'll just go right into it like this. And you just have to gauge where your opponent is when it comes to this, because if you're just mashing jump against Ki Blast, more often times than not, they'll have an answer for it and you're gonna get smoked for it. Same with Frieza, and I found this route recently the hard way. This catches jump. So this is something that you have to consider. And from there, obviously Frieza has some of the best zoning tools in the game. They can establish this, they can establish this, go into this. Of course, it gets very tricky very fast if you're not acquainted with what the character can do. Same with Z Broly, right? A lot of people like to jump at this character, especially from like this, if they want to get in against his zoning. So what does he do? You just do this, right? So if I do like this, and you know, I get smacked for it, right? So again, all of these mind games, they come into play when you're playing against good players, especially the ones who know their kits and how to use them effectively in neutral. Like I said, you want to be mindful of maybe, you know, two things when doing the Ki Blast War. You know, the speed, or not the speed, the amount of Ki Blast that you have, and the assists that are available and not available. Because if their beam assist is not available, I'm more likely to press this, right? I'm more likely to, you know, sort of take my turn in neutral against you if I feel that you're not going to have an assist available with you, right? Of course, there are certain Ki Blasts that are really good at piercing assists. Like I said, Frieza's is really good. Of course, Z Broly, he has a really good answer to zoning as well. Barrier up. I mean, you can't do anything against this outside of, you know, Tien Chaozu. Don't ask why I know that. But these are all things to consider in the Ki Blast War. Because if not, let's just say you're a character that, you know, and we're gonna break the fourth wall here. We're gonna go to the, you know, character select. Let's just say you're characters that don't have really good Ki Blast game. Let's say you're Yamcha. Let's say you're Tien. Let's say you're Bardock, right? These characters, they all have their own things going for them. You know, Yamcha has Wolf Fang Fist, EX Flash. He has Tien has his own beam that's pretty non-committal. Bardock has a lariat that goes really fast, right? So while their zoning may not be the best, the Ki Blast War can still be played around because of the tools that the character has. So all of these things come into play, and of course characters like Gogeta 4 or Blue Goku, or, you know, someone that has a lot of Ki Invul, projectile invulnerability, you know, all of these characters, they come into play because two of these characters have Ki Blasts that are very, very good. The other one doesn't, but they all still really do well against Ki Blast, right? These are all things to consider as you get farther and farther down the rabbit hole of how neutral is played in the game. And of course, like I said, remember the Ki Blast that Teen Gohan has? There's two other characters that have very similar Ki Blasts. one that we all know and love. Lab Coat. Another one is Kefla. She also has one of the few Ki Blasts that actually covers that same angle well. So these are all characters to consider. You know, if I throw a Ki Blast out, am I gonna get smoked by the their Jump JS, right? Jump JS is like ATM machine, whatever. There's a couple of characters that are anti-projectile. Janemba's one of them, right? He has EX Slash, he has 2-2S. Jiren, of course, he has one of the few 5S's that reflects and is also a beam property. Very annoying to deal with these things, but they're all to be considered. Now, before we go, there's one character I want to mention who basically rules this shit, okay? Really can't contend with him. He's probably the best at the Ki Blast War now. The boyfriend. Never thought I'd see the return, right? This character is probably one of the few in the game that can actually deal with the Ki Blast War better than everyone else. And there's a couple reasons why. I'm going to go into them real quick just before we go. And it's pretty simple. With the additions to his 236S and the new patch, he has the fastest Ki Blast with the most amount of Ki Blast and some of the best angles in the game when it comes to this. So let's just take a look. I'm going to set him to guard all real quick. So as you can see, frame 22. This is frame 22. Nope, excuse me, frame 21. I'm capping. Frame 20. Wow, it just keeps getting better. Frame 20. Alright, Frieza. 21. Frame 21. Alright, so he has the fastest Ki Blast in the game. Full screen. Okay? And let's not even get started with the amount of Ki Blast, because God knows it's going to be 16 for some reason. Right? Not only does he have that, remember when I mentioned Base Vegeta's mind game of this, right? So he has the same thing, right? He has this. He has this, but it just gels, right? And you can just whiff it. You can do this. Same thing, right? So not only does he have that, but guess what? That angle I talked about with Teen Gohan earlier? Whoa. Whoa, right? Same with this one, right? And just look at the chip. Look at the chip. Look at the health bar. What is going on? What is going on? He's dealing like 5% of chip off of one move, and the bar, right? So we've kind of broken down everything. Let's look at the angles. Angles, boom. Let's look at the priority. Even though he doesn't have the fastest, or not the fastest, but the priority, his is still matching most. Let's take Base Vegeta, like we said earlier. Oh my god. Right, so that happens. Let's just say you throw one Ki Blast out. Let's say he throws his out. You're barely safe. You're barely safe. Never mind. You got counter hit. Cool. Okay. So he has tradable Ki Blasts that are so significant. He just barrels through any type of zoning. He also has the most amount of Ki Blasts. He has the speed. And he has the same mind games that are as good, or if not better, than base Vegeta's, right? So they really just created the best zoning character in the game as far as Ki Blasts are concerned, because he just has everything, right? And I'm kind of off tangent here, but he just has everything, right? So this is the only character that kind of breaks every rule, where he doesn't have to think, right? And he can vanish cancel this too, by the way. So good luck, right? Alright, so that's going to be it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys learned something. If you did, make sure to, again, like, subscribe, share with your friends. And I'm being sincere when I say this hood shit, man. Get me the fuck out of here, like, for real. I'm just, you know what I'm saying? I'm kind of over it. But hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys later.